We'll call to order the Town of Lake Lure Town Council regular meeting Tuesday, August the 9th at 5 p.m. Would you all stand for the invocation, please?
Father, thank you for this opportunity to gather together, to come together with like minds, hearts, and souls in the interest of our town, its future, and everything that we are going to prepare for the next chapter and generation to come, and for those that are gathered here today. We thank you for the wisdom and knowledge you greet us with each morning as we take a breath of fresh air in your natural environment, this beautiful surrounding that we have. And we pray your grace and wisdom upon us in this evening and moving forward. In your name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Are there any edits, additions to the agenda? And do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for Tuesday, August 9th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then the agenda is approved as written. We will move to the next part, which is the town mayor's communication. And I wanted to just give you, you've probably seen this, but just to remind everybody of two things. We're going to have our round tables again this month, one in this side of Lake Lure and the other in Rumbling Bald. The first one will be Tuesday, the 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. It will be the Terrace of the Legends at Rumbling Bald. So if you are interested, please, if you would RSVP to Laura Creegee, just so we get an idea of how many people will be there. If you were there last year, you'll remember it's just an open forum. It's an opportunity to ask questions that you may have. We'll give brief updates to begin with, but in general, it's just an opportunity for us to communicate with each other. You know, the town council meeting is not a venue for communication. There's no provision for that. So we decided last year we need to make sure everybody can ask whatever questions they want. So please come if you can. The next one will be on Thursday, the 25th, here in Municipal Hall from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Once again, please RSVP to Laura Creegee. Also, Dustin Wakecaster, excuse me, will be there, and he's going to give a demonstration of the new equipment that the fire department has that is interesting to all of us because it is medical safety equipment. So I encourage all of you all to come. Everyone who came last year, I think, felt it was very informative. So thank you for that. The other thing I'd like to remind you of is our ribbon cutting. We had a ribbon cutting this last week at the gazebo, and it was very, very nice the week before. We have a ribbon cutting 8/25 at 11 a.m., and it's at Buffalo Creek parking lot. So we encourage you all to come there and see the progress that we've made there. We're making lots of progress with TDA's partnership and Parks and Recreation Department. We thank that department surely. So come and enjoy it while you're there. And that is the end of the mayor's communications. So we will move on to the next issue being the council liaison reports, and we will start with.
Actually, Mayor,
Oh, I beg your
It's
pardon.
okay.
I did that last time too. I'm so sorry. We will not go to the council liaison reports. We will go to the town manager's communication.
Okay.
Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. We had a busy month of July. It was the first month of our fiscal year start for it. In public services, of course, this was a running thing for all town groups, including the police department and the fire department. 4th of July was a big success for us. Community development, if you looked at their offices right now, in the month of July, they were about 50% through their move to the new arcade space that we've got going on. And then also, as they reported during the work session, Mr. Williams said that they continue to work with AT&T on the installation of a new cell tower. Moving on to fire and emergency management, they had 14 calls throughout the month. This was down a little bit compared to 18 calls for the month before. and had about 203 hours of training for July. The police, I'll point out to them that they were successful in getting their V-hull boat back in the water with their new graphics and for their presence for the town of Lake Lure and the lake itself. And then they are still in the preparation, or at least they were in the month of July. They have an audit coming up with North Carolina Training and Standards Commissions. They were involved in that as well. Moving forward to Parks and Recreation in the lake, they were instrumental in helping us pull off a very fine gazebo ribbon cutting with the TDA, and then they also continue to work with building rec desk. Moving into finance, Mr. Ford would tell you that being the first month of the fiscal year, that expenditures are going to outpace the revenues at that point, but it's in good shape for the town financially, and that they were knee deep in helping out with the audit presentation for this fiscal year as well. And then communications, they meaning Laura Creechy, had 31 Facebook posts with an estimated reach of 20,721. She also was working and successfully completed 2 FEMA grants for the dam, one for the 30% design for the project, as well as for a second construction cost grant for the reservoir drains that will be coming up in the near future. And then lastly, for manager and clerk admin reports, we did receive the second valve bid for the 20-foot dam for it, and we accepted the 60-inch jet flow from Steel Fabricators. And then, of course, lastly, HDD permitting remains in full effect, and we move forward with that. That's it.
Thank you very much. We are doing well. We will now move to our item number 4, which is the council liaison reports and comments, and we will begin with Commissioner Doster.
Thank you, ma'am. Zoning and planning did not meet last month. The UAB did not meet for August. As you know, we have had consensus of the council to disband the UAB. So, Mayor, I make a motion that we disband the Utility Advisory Board, effective immediately.
Do we hear a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then that motion stands adopted unanimously. And we thank everyone, once again, we thank everyone who served on the UAB. And I know a number of people have continued to contribute their efforts and their skills by agreeing to be on other boards. So as always, that's such an important part of our town. It truly is. As I move to the Parks and Rec Board, Oh,
you wanna?
yeah.
Yes, certainly, and if I may.
Yes,
so,
please.
yes, I'd like to say to the community, thank you for the opportunity to serve on the Parks and Recreation Board. During my time, some of my professional obligations have precluded me from always being as present as I'd like to be in some aspects, and with the dissolution of the UAB, Commissioner Doster is going to be a fantastic fit for that board, and I'm still going to be very active and involved alongside Parks Recs, and working for public safety alongside some other objectives on a higher level with that, and still, of course, very much involved. And you will see me at the meeting. I just will not be the liaison informal at this time. So.
And we thank you so much
Yes,
for
ma'am.
all the efforts that you have. And clearly that, I don't know how you juggle all the things you have to do here with your more than full-time job that you have running the.
Some
Lake
balls
Lure
are
Inn.
square. Some balls are square. That's how that works. Yeah.
So we all appreciate that.
Thank you very much,
But thank
Madam
you
Mayor.
for everything.
My pleasure, ma'am. Thank you.
And Patrick, thanks for your support on this. Thanks for your help. I know
Absolutely.
I told you I'd be picking your brain, so I'm sure
Always
I
here.
will.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I guess for my first report, just a couple of quick things. Flowering Bridge is working on, the new bricks are being installed. They are in a fundraising effort for their education center. Year to date, there have been 87,000 people come through the clicker. And in July, we had 21,000. They are working on a website filming. So for the next 4 seasons, they'll be breaking it out and filming 4 different times during the year for their website. Green space update, install trail counters. I'm gonna give it a shot. It's kind of tough to decide exactly where to put a clicker on that space because you can access it so quickly, or from many different places. but we're gonna give it a shot. We kind of identified a couple of spots, and thanks to Dean and the guys over there for getting the grass cut. I hope everybody has noticed that, how much better that looks. I know it, I went by the other day and it really looked great, so. Did I hear you were on a tractor? Okay, folks, if you wanna see that, we'll get video of that and play it at the next town council. Olympiad's this weekend, don't forget, Slam the Dam Friday night, and then the Lake Lure Triathlon on Saturday over in Rumbling Bald. The mayor already said about the ribbon cutting at the Buffalo Creek Park. Dirty Dancing is in a couple of weeks or a few weeks and is sold out, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you, and
Yep.
thank you for
Absolutely.
stepping up to board for the Parks and Recs. We appreciate
Yep.
that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Diorio.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Board of Adjustments did not meet this month, so that report is very brief. Secondly, the Lake Advisory Board did meet. The comprehensive review of the lake use regulations is complete. The body of work has been put together into a draft document, and the LAB has formally forwarded that to the Marine Commission. In conversation with the town manager and Parks and Rec, we've come up with a framework of what to do next, which includes getting that document into the Marine Commission package for the Marine Commission coming up on September the 13th. And at that meeting will be another opportunity for town council to review that document, answer questions, do final editing as necessary, and then forward that to a public hearing at that point. Once all the edits are completed, questions answered by the Marine Commission in September, that body of work will be posted on our website, along with a brief video, explanation video. And 10 days in advance, so sometime after that, we'll schedule the public hearing, so everyone can see what's going on, and then come to a dedicated public hearing at that point, which would be late in September. Not scheduled yet, but we'll get a date for that. And then we'll take care of getting the lake use regulations approved at that point, and we go to execution. So that's kind of what we've laid out. If that's an agreement with Town Council / Marine Commission, then we'll execute that. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr.
ABC,
Proctor. Okay.
ABC Board did meet last month, and I was in New York City, so I missed it, but word has it there was no new news, and people are really thirsty again last month and bought a lot of liquor.
That's a good thing. We like thirsty
Yeah.
people at the ABC store, for sure. Being its only reason for existence, that's really all you can judge it on, right? That concludes then our council reports. Thank you all very much. We'll move to our public comment. Is there anyone at this time who would like to make a comment? If you would like to, yes, please step up to the podium, and even though we know who you are, if you'll please state your name and your address for the record, we would appreciate it.
Deborah Gardner, 137 Firefly Cove. I've got a few questions. One, is there a town ordinance that requires property owners, particularly along major public roads like 74, to keep their lawns and properties in condition that looks good?
Well, those would be things, I think some of these questions are better probably answered by Mike Williams,
Mike?
which is probably more.
Like lawn mowed versus lawn up to here? So I guess the question is, who enforces those ordinances?
And that's why I'm saying you really need to talk to
Okay.
community development. That's probably a better conversation for you to have with Mike.
Okay, okay, because there's some properties that I think need to be given attention. My next question has to do with that boating accident that took place earlier this year, and I would just like an update as to what is going to happen to the person who caused that accident in light of what happened.
I don't think that's really something we can discuss
Yeah, so
here.
there's what we can say is there's an ongoing investigation being done by the Fish and Wildlife Service. There is litigation, there is a legal proceeding that's going on. So that report is not available to the public, nor even to us, because it's all being handled via the legal system.
Well, I remember the accident that happened a couple years ago, maybe a year ago, where the person was intoxicated, and that information was shared, and
But
we
that
were,
was after all
That
the
was after the
litigation
fact.
was over.
Okay.
Correct,
Okay.
correct, right.
because I guess at some point, you're gonna have to decide whether that person is allowed to have access to the boat,
And
to
it's
Lake.
exactly the same thing as
Okay.
last time, Deborah. We have to wait till after litigation.
Okay,
Right,
thank you.
right.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else? As always, we welcome your comments, so thank you. And we appreciate your being here, more than you know, we truly do. We'll move on then to the consent agenda. Are there any edits to the, or additions to the consent agenda? If not, do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda as written?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as posted.
I'll make a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then the consent agenda is approved as posted. We'll now move on to our new business. The first item on our new business is a budget amendment, number 339-ADNS Wi-Fi network changes and upgrades. Mr. Perkins?
Yes, we talked about this a little bit at the work session. In addition to the upgrades from ADNS, we've included some monies for some furniture and painting in your packet, so you do have some list of places that are going to be subject to painting. We're going to be doing the town hall painting to include completion of the interior. We had done some painting of the interior to date and ran out at that time when we exhausted the funds for it. So we'll be completing the interior painting of this building. Also doing the interior painting for the police department. We'll be painting the boathouse exterior with pressure washing. And then Lake Ops interior painting, the funds are there to include that, to finish that project as well. And then for office upgrades for Lake Ops and administration, that would have been the furniture needs for that place as well. And then for Town Hall, we're going to exterior pressure wash the building and paint this building as well.
Good.
So those are additions that we had in excess of what we discussed at our work session, but that is inside this budget amendment as well to get that work done.
Okay, any questions for anyone?
Oh, good.
Do you hear a motion then? To approve that budget amendment?
I make a motion to approve budget amendment number 339.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then budget amendment number 339 stands approved unanimously. Next item on our new business is discussion regarding Lake Lure Tours concession agreement and off-season beach opening closing request. I'll defer to you as again, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, Ms. Mayor, this request came to us late. We were managed to get it into the agenda for this evening's meeting. This is a request from Lake Lure Tours for the reopening of the beach park for unsupervised access for walking. Basically, it is during, the request is during the lake drawdown period. So that would happen until like at January, and then it would be open, unsupervised, no swimming until the lake starts coming back up at the end of March. We reached out to the police department. Their position on this issue is identical. Nothing's changed to it last year. They do have concerns about the beach being open for unsupervised access, and that is in regards to people having to report, them having to report for people that have been in the water or otherwise doing things that they were not supposed to be doing or should be doing. But in any event, Lake Lure Tours has come back with this request. They have matched in close, as close as they could, identical dates and timelines for what they requested and were granted last year.
Last year.
Yes.
So do we, if we let this, if we were talking about it earlier here, I think it's a good idea to have that where people can walk around out there, especially at that time of the year. There's not a lot going on. What concerns me is what concerns police department. I know the lake will be down, max of 12 feet. It will flex. It's gonna come up, it's gonna be 5, 8, 10, whatever. So we don't wanna encourage that swimming, but if we were to take the lifeguard stands and put them across with signs on them that say, you know, no entry beyond this point? I mean, are we helping ourselves by doing that, or are we still gonna have, you look, people are still gonna do, you know, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but,
If we were to put some kind of rope system up across the beach, it might would help the people from crossing, but you're still gonna have people that are gonna cross and do it.
Right.
and what kind of our liability in this, if we put signs up and we say, you know, some guy goes out there and gets stuck to his waist in the mud, and then decides to get on us about it.
I don't know what the extent of our liability is.
I think I wrote a memo or something on this last year,
Mhm.
Yeah,
You did.
I-
You did.
and
August last year.
I'll need to look at that and refresh my memory on
Yeah.
what I found. I don't think it was serious concern.
Okay. 'Cause
But-
go ahead.
But I think,
It was addressed last year.
Yeah.
so I just to be clear, I guess the big picture is that when water's in the lake, people tend to want to go jump in it. And so when there's water all the way up to about where the lifeguard towers are, we're gonna close the beach because that's the time where people have a tendency to jump in the water. When the water recedes, when we draw it down, they can walk out there and don't have a tendency to go play in the mud. Some do, but they have a tendency not to go out there, so that's not a problem time. So we're gonna open the beach during the time when there's a drawdown because, you know, people, you know, won't be jumping in the water, and it's closed when the water comes back up again until we officially open it for the season. That's the big picture?
That's it.
It
That's the big
is,
thing.
and that,
Okay.
the point that was that people could use the beach for bonfires or
Right.
gatherings or whatever when
Okay.
the lake
Yeah.
was drawn down.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Even on these dates that they were showing here in the November and stuff, you're getting to a point that the water's too cold to be in.
Yeah.
It's more over in your shoulder seasons to where it's warm enough for people to do that.
Yeah, when you
Okay.
were, I think last year, because I wasn't up here last year, so I don't remember the whole thing. I do remember part of the conversation, though, was that after Labor Day, the lake's still up. People were climbing the fence, they were,
Yeah.
you know, still going and
80
swimming.
degree October days.
Yeah, yeah, so that's obviously, if we, since our season's gonna be short, it's gonna be cold, it's gonna be way down, then, yeah, I think, I'm good with it, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you hear a motion then?
Sure. Make a motion to,
Oh.
to approve?
May I? May I?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Looking through this and thinking about other events going on in town also, the Arts and Crafts Festival has shifted its gears, and they're a week before the boat show, which is 2 weeks before Memorial Day. So I'd like to move that to May for the unsupervised, it says reclosed and unsupervised and then reopened by Lake Lure Tours. That 1 week prior to Memorial Day is the weekend of the Arts and Crafts Festival, and I don't think that's feast for fodder to let the general public go out there during that time. I'd like to move that to the end of April as part of the agreement for the original one, so. But the water is gonna be up by the end of March, and if that's gonna be the formal assessment there.
Well, the water's gonna start being brought up.
In
By
at
the end of March, yeah. So,
The middle of
mhm,
April. So
yeah.
you wanted to change this date, and rather than 1 week prior to Memorial Day, you wanna make it, what are you changing exactly?
Go from,
2 weeks prior?
To 2 weeks prior?
Mhm. Yeah,
To 2 weeks prior, so that would be,
That'd be the reclose.
would
well, the
that be-
reclose would be March the 31st, as the water comes back
Right.
up.
You're talking about the
correct?
reopening.
Yeah.
You wanna
yeah,
reopen,
The one that's the binder clipped one, when the water comes back up, we close, but it reads as May 23rd.
and you wanna change that to? I'm not understanding what it
Staying
is
fully
you wanna do.
reclosed. The March, the return to full pond, do we need verbiage in there for that or not? For the March 31st date, or the end of April, or is full pond sufficient for council? For when we close the gates again?
Well, we're not always exactly exactly sure when.
We're not
Yeah, I mean,
exactly
right-
sure when, yeah.
Yeah.
So Full Pond is, it could be ambiguous, but it's.
Yeah.
Why don't we just cut the ambiguity out and just call it March 31st
Right.
and be done? That's
Okay.
the time in which the
Okay.
Yeah.
watershed's
Okay.
coming up.
Yeah,
Right.
I was gonna say, just make it March 31, and you're done.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Because
see- I
that's
see
when
what you're
preparations for the beach can start. We start turning the water back on, ice machines, toilets, the whole thing.
Right.
Because all that stuff gets drained through the winter, so.
Okay.
If we nail that down, it makes operations for the
So
concessionaires
it just
easier,
corresponds
too.
to the drawdown period.
Yeah,
Yeah.
January
Yeah.
1st, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
cut
Pulls
and dry.
alongside
We
it, so.
can't ever be sure on full.
Mhm. Yep.
So, I'll make a motion to approve the request regarding the Lake Lure Tours concession agreement and off-season beach opening, closing with the amendment of the date added of 3/31/23
I'll-
As the full pond condition.
as the full pond condition,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, sir.
3/31's the reclosure regardless of what the water.
What the
Right.
lake's doing, it could be,
Right.
Correct.
yeah.
Mhm.
So rather
Yeah,
than the
absolutely.
yeah,
full
that
pond,
would,
yeah.
yeah.
Got,
I'll-
That way you
I'll
have a
sec-
hard dead set date and you're rocking
I
and
think that's clear and I'll second that.
rolling.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Then that is approved unanimously. And that concludes our meeting tonight, having no further business. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then we stand adjourned. We thank you for coming. This may be our shortest ever.
wow, that was 25 minutes. And I talked for 10.
So we got lots of time to talk.